Dan Illman, Mike Beer taking a look at race number 9 at Belmont at the Big A on Saturday. It's a Breeders' Cup prep Saturday in New York in the Grade 3 Vosburgh. This race could be a prep for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Let's throw up the field. It's a $250,000 Grade 3. It's 7/8 of a mile. 7 entered in here. It's an evenly matched group. Dean Delivers comes into this race in exceptional form. Ned Allard's done nothing wrong with him so far. 4 for 4 since switching to the Allard barn.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with him. He's in really good form right now. He could be the speed of this race too. 7 furlongs doesn't feel like it's that big a deal for him. Dan, there's no standout in this field. There's no standout in this sprint division at all this year. It seems like this is a really well matched group, and in some ways, Dean Delivers is the horse to beat.
And Dean Delivers could be the main speed. We'll throw up our time form US pace projector. There he is, the number 4, Dean Delivers up top. Baby Yoda is a tactical type that can adapt to any pace scenario, as can the 5, Comedy Town.
Yeah, I think the key to the pace, it could be the 1, Dan. It feels like this horse is in a little tough, and maybe they just get aggressive with him breaking from the inside. To me, the key to the pace, though, was probably Baby Yoda. He just got back into good form earlier this year when they went back to using his speed. And in his last 2 starts, the 2 Grade 1s, he just didn't get out of the gate that well.
Lord Miles, the number 7, has the fastest time form US late pace rating. He will need some pace. He's cutting back in distance and is a 1-run closer to begin with. Let's start things off with 7's 11, coming off a high-level allowance win at Laurel. And maybe you want to make the argument that this guy is slowly racing himself back into shape. His 3rd start since finishing a good second to talented post time in the Grade 3 General George at this distance. They ran him once off the layoff in the DeFrancis. Dean Delivers was too much for him. They ran him a 2-turn race at Timonium. That didn't work out. This is probably Dean 7's 11 getting back to his best. I didn't think the field he beat was great, but you got to respect that 99 buyer.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if the 99 buyer's, a legit figure, I mean, maybe that is the case that he just sort of built off of that General George finally and improved. I guess the real issue with it is that number doesn't really make sense for the horse that ran second in that race. It feels like that number is a little bit high, but we'll see.
You mentioned that he could be part of the pace. He picks up an aggressive rider in Kendrick Carmouche. And one of his best races was the General George, where he did go to the front, and it took a nice horse in post time to run him down. The number 2 is Scotland, and he started off his career like he might have some ability for Belmont. And he kind of lost his way after running in the Travers and Pennsylvania Derby. This race, though, is a step in the right direction. His most recent start, an allowance going this distance at Saratoga. I like that he was able to sit on the outside off of horses very comfortably, brush to the front on the turn, and once Junior Alvarado asks him for his best right about here, he spurts away.
Yeah, he's much the best in here. This is a really strong performance, and I think a real move in the right direction for Scotland. Dan, you were talking about the horse on the rail, maybe just sort of racing himself into shape finally. I feel like that was the case with Scotland leading up to this one. They gave him a lot of time off after he failed in those Grade 1s. They reinvented him as a sprinter this year. And it just felt like he continually moved forward a little bit in each of his first 3 starts. And then he really broke through last time. I much prefer him going shorter, and I really liked his last race.
Now, Scotland's best efforts have come at Saratoga. We'll see if he could transfer his form here. His uncoupled stablemate and next-door neighbor in the starting gate, the number 3, Baby Yoda, has also run some incredible races at Saratoga. 114 buyer back in 2021, a win in the Grade 2 True North 3 starts back. His 2 subsequent starts haven't been great, but he's getting a little class relief here.
Yeah, he is. And again, he just didn't get out of the gate well at all in either of those last 2 starts. When you go back to the True North, when he was sort of, drawn to the outside, he was able to break well. He got a perfect trip in that race, and he just won very easily. He's obviously capable of a race that would make him really tough in here, but I do think getting out of the gate is the key for him because he wants to be forward.
Is that a habit for Baby Yoda that's gone back a long way, or is it something recent? And if it is something recent, do you think maybe he's starting to get a little bit sour?
Yeah, that's the real question of the race. I don't think it's a habit for this horse, but he is a horse who has been known to sort of go in and out of form, and he'll go out of form for long stretches too. We'll see. I'm not going to be too hard on him for those last 2 races, but this could be sort of a key race for him because these are nice fit here, Dan, if he can get the right trip.
Dean Delivers is in very good form. He's won 4 in a row for Ned Allard, including this race, the Rumson, going 5/8 of a mile at Monmouth, and he showed his customary early speed, but he had to get into a little bit of a fight this final 3/16 of a mile. He is confronted from the outside. He digs in along the rail, and he's actually getting away a little bit under the line.
This is a good effort for this horse. I think it sometimes goes unnoticed how hard it is for horses to cut back to 5 furlongs, even sprinting on the dirt. This horse usually going 6 or 7, sometimes a mile, Coming back to 5 furlongs is not easy, and this horse had to work hard every step of the way in there. His Beyer regressed in there. I think it's one of the best races that he's run this year, and his prior 3 efforts were all really strong with solid speed figures. Yeah, this is a very dangerous horse in here.
It's funny, I talked to Ned before his race at Delaware, and he said the horse just seemed to blossom once he got out of Florida. He didn't seem to like the hot weather. Then he won at Delaware on a day where it was about 135 degrees with the heat index. Hey, if it's cooler, maybe it'll work well for Dean Delivers. Now he has to stretch out to 7. Do you think 6 is his best distance?
I do think 6 is his best distance. He's run well going 7 before, so I don't think it's out of the realm for him to win this race or to win any major race going 7, but I do think he might be better going 6.
Comedy Town, the number 5, had some back class on turf. He was second in the Laurel Dash back in 2022. Nice claim for Safi Joseph. Picked him up for a quarter back in March, and he's won his last 3, including this effort going 7/8 over a muddy track at Gulfstream Park. He's won from on the lead, and in this race, he sat off the pace. That versatility works very well for him. Safi's having another very good year.
Yeah, just that wide all the way around the track in here, and he's just better than these horses, Dan. I mean, who knew? This horse was I guess he was a dirt horse all along. No, none of his prior trainers, and there have been 3 or 4 of them, had ever thought to run him on dirt. And now Safi Joseph has. He's undefeated on this surface, a 2-time stakes winner. He's got a figure 2 starts back that makes him a major player in here. I mean, I can't say that I love him in here, but I'm not going to knock him.
Trainer Nacho Correas is very underrated, and he has an interesting horse in here in the 6, Mufasa, who's also cross-entered at Churchill Downs in a graded stake on Saturday. This horse began his career in South America. He probably needed his first start in the States over a wet track at Churchill. Last time out at Colonial going 7/8, I just think he found the right spot, but he beat Repo Rocks, who we know on his best day can run some giant figures.
Yeah, it's true. And he beat that horse on the square also, Dan. I don't know. He did look good winning that race, and it did get a representative figure. So I'm not going to take his chances too lightly. I guess I should take your point. Maybe he just needed that first start at Churchill Downs, because I watched that race and I didn't think that he ran well at all in there with a perfect trip.
We usually do like horses cutting back to the 7/8 of a mile distance. Usually like horses cutting back to this 7 furlong distance, and the 7 Lord Miles has been competing at longer distances, but with his running style, there's a chance he could be completely out-sprinted. He's a 1-run closer in longer distance races. How is he going to deal with the faster pace in the opening furlongs of a race like this? He does like the surface, however. He upset the Wood Memorial last year, and at least he has won sprinting in the past.
He has. In some ways, I guess he's just hoping for a fast pace here so he can, just get something to run at. And he does like the track. I guess that's something to hold on to, Dan. He didn't look like a contender to me.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Vosburgh. It's race 9 at Belmont at the Big A, and it kicks off a 50-cent pick 4. We're hoping that Scotland is finally getting back to his best form. I liked that race last time out. I'm a little concerned that some of his best efforts had come at Saratoga, but I just think this Vosburgh is ripe for the pickings for a horse that is pretty much unexposed.
Yeah, I think he is too. And to me, I just think shorter is better for this horse. So I'm glad that Mott has concentrated on sprinting this year. Took a big step forward last time. I think this is a good spot for him, Dan, and I want to take him in here. To me, it was really down to the 2 and the 4. I didn't really like anybody else.
Mike's going to go 2-4 in here. I'll go 2-1, 6, and 5, and we'll see if Scotland can perhaps punch his ticket to a Breeders' Cup race. He's in the Grade 3 Vosburgh on Saturday. Hey buddy, you look like you're in need of a winner, and just remember, if you like and subscribe right over here, you can get all of the great content on DRF.com, including Race of the Day, stakes previews, and lots more, featuring me and my superb selections. Trust me, you're not going to regret it.